my daughter Bryony had cancer 3 times. The first couple of times she had cancer was when she was quite young. She was 9, and then she had another kind of cancer when she was 13. And we were always interested in taking doing everything we could at that time. And but it was before there was an internet, before there was any mobile phone, so it was quite limited what we could do in a way. But we did whatever we could. The third time she had cancer, it was when she was 23, and by then the internet arrived, and it was quite clear that orthodox medicine didn't have an awful lot up its sleeve to help her, and so I set out to very seriously look and see, well, what else is going on that might be of use to her. And I started on this path of trying to do research on the internet. While Bryony was still alive, my daughter was still alive, we'd already thought up the idea of actually having a charity. It was quite clear this was something that needed to exist. And she unfortunately died very suddenly before we'd even really managed to start trying to help her. And by that point, we'd actually raised some money for her treatment. And so we had this money sitting there, and we thought, right, okay, well, this is what we'll use this for is to actually start the charity itself. So we got given a tiny office at that time, a little box room in a solicitor's office in Wimpole Street, through somebody we knew, and we set off from there initially, and we advertised and found somebody to actually come and help do this. I mean, it's been a journey of exploration, and now I never set up a charity, never done anything to do with charities before. I had some business experience, but which is useful. I had IT experience, which is useful. All sorts of things that were useful, but never actually done it before. So anyway, so I advertised, found a fantastic young lady who has got a lot of experience in marketing and that kind of area to help me get the thing off the ground. And off we set. And it took us. It was more than a year before we actually were able to offer any services, and before we became a registered charity. It took probably maybe a year and a half for that. And so, we were just beavering away in the background all that time, getting it set up. The charity was built on late nights, essentially, in the beginning, because I was doing it out of hours. It was all my spare time, which really meant all my spare time. I've got a little bit more civilised now. I'm glad to say. I mean, you can do that for a while, but it gets too much eventually. So, yeah, no, it was whatever it took in the early days. In the beginning, well, it was. You can imagine it wasn't exactly a high point in my life after my daughter had died, and that was one of the difficulties I was having at that time. It was actually just about as bad as it gets, from my point of view. It was definitely the worst time. So I made a kind of personal resolution at that time, which was to myself. It's just about the way that I intended to live my life, where the majority, or preferably all of my efforts, are going in one direction. I'm not at odds with myself. I'm very focused about where I'm going and why. And I saw that as possibly my last chance this lifetime to actually say, right, this is it, I'm doing it now, and I'm not going back. So I did, I said that, and that stood me personally in good stead. So in a certain kind of way, I've done the whole thing for my own benefit, I would say, because actually my life's been revolutionised, but it's completely different now to how it was. My experience of life is different, what I do is different, the way I do it is different, everything's changed for the better. So, so I could say that just on a personal level, out of something terrible, something good has happened. Looking at it the other way around, I'd say that well, on the face of it, this has produced something which is for everybody's good, and it's helped a lot of people and all that, and that's very satisfying. I love that. I love to see that that's happening. But I think I'd have had a hard time doing that without the other reason that actually it was just a personal journey thing really for me, that I actually needed to change my life 100%. And so the things that might appear to be an obstacle or hard work or whatever they are along the way to make this happen really doesn't, is incidental really, it doesn't matter. And the fact that it has helped a lot of people is fantastic, of course, but you know, that's just like, well, I had to do that anyway. I was doing it anyway. Do you know what I mean? It's not like, I don't know, it's a funny thing, it's quite difficult to describe, but it's this personal decision that's made all the rest of it possible, and it's great that it's worked out, and the fact that it is actually working and that it's helping people. I've gone from somebody who I didn't have a very clear idea who I was or what I thought. I'm now ridiculously opinionated. I've got something to say about everything, and I've got a very strong motivational force behind what I do, which I didn't have so much before. I know why I want to do the things I want to do, and I'm really behind them, and I enjoy life enormously. I don't mean to say it's always easy or great or whatever. Of course, there's always difficult things come along, but as a whole, it gets better and better all the time. And I've been enormously privileged, like along the way, the people I've met who've either come in to join me and been part of the charity have got inspired by the same thing as me, or they've been the people we've helped. Some of them are just like, wow, these people are fantastic. You know, it's a great thing to do. It's lovely. You've got to be in for the long haul if you want to make change. You know, there's I've had at this point I've had any number of unbelievably fantastic looking opportunities come along that look like they're going to make it some rapid, huge change somewhere or achieve something fantastic, and you know, most of them don't. You know, but occasionally one does. You know, one of these things comes along and it's like it really does move things along quite quickly. So you know, you've got to take the rough with the smooth. You've got to kind of keep a big overview of like, doesn't matter, we're still going here. And you know, and occasionally we've lost fantastic people we had in the charity who like seem indispensable, and it's like, oh no, you know, they're going, you know, for whatever reason, and seems like it's a tragedy, but I suppose at this point I've done enough of that to know that none of that matters. You know, we just keep going, and then somebody else fantastic comes along next. You know, we just made a hole for somebody else really good to come in. So yeah, it's very important to keep a long view and your objective, you know, way down the line and keep going.